One of the best pieces of financial advice I ever received was managing your expenses on one income. Now, this is coming from a family member that I have a close connection with, and they've done very well for themselves in life. And this is a piece of advice. I was with my partner. I wasn't married at the time, but I think we were engaged, or we were together for quite a long time at that point. But managing your expenses, being able to live on one income, is a really great piece of advice, because around the world, but especially in the UK, I've kind of noticed that the societal norm for two income households has kind of become the norm. Now, for obviously people who are single or living by themselves, that have one income to a household, it's going to be a little bit obviously different. And I can't imagine, unless you're earning a very, very good wage, that being able to, say, manage on your expenses on half your income is doable. That's going to be very, very tough. But if you are with somebody, you are in a two income household, have two people that could work and stuff, take this into account. It is really, really important, because a lot of people get trapped in the escalating kind of lifestyle creep. So as they start earning more, they start spending more, they save less, they inflate their life and their expenses according to their paycheck. Now, being able to manage a household on one income isn't easy, but when you become dependent on two incomes for the household, especially, I'm married now, I have a boy, and having two incomes with children makes things can be really difficult, especially when they're young and very dependent on your time and everything. Mortgages used to be given to people kind of evaluated at the level of a single, one person. As time's gone on, things changed in like the landscape, and mortgages started being offered to people based on dual incomes. Now, in societies past, it used to be the norm that obviously, mothers would pretty much stay at home and look after the kids, and there would be a breadwinner, most likely the father. That was just the norm. Societies change, women into the workforce and want to do work and want to kind of join things, be entrepreneurs, their own adventures. Got no problem with that. But it does leave a bit of a gap and a bit of a problem for the household, where keeping a home and looking after kids, those two things are pretty much full-time jobs anyway. So not having one adult completely dedicated to that can make it, really difficult. And if you become dependent on two incomes for one household to make ends meet, it is a really, really rocky and unstable situation for that household and for society to be in, really. It's a bit of a crime, I think, that society has kind of accepted this as the norm. I wouldn't have much of a problem if it was still the case that most families could afford to say one person goes to work, whether that's mum or dad, and one person can actually be a homekeeper and stay with children and whatnot. I think this would actually, be more stable, more beneficial to society as a whole. The other thing to note with not getting basically trapped in the dual income problem is just take children out of the equation and simply thinking about the other person you're with. If they leave for any reason, or heaven forbid, something worse happens, they get ill, die, or, pass away, whatever, something tragic, and they're not able to kind of go back to work. A lot of people don't have the insurances and the savings in place to be able to absorb that. If you are relying on each other together for budgeting and costs, that's going to be, it puts you more at risk, right? Now, you could put the counterpoint of saying, well, having all the income based on solely, one person is risky, right? But that's true to an extent. But if you do have adequate sort of insurances, at least like, for the one person, and protect that up, you can protect that income and protect that being able to afford the expenses and whatnot. Having a reliance on dual incomes just doubles that risk in a sense, or in some ways, you double your costs on insurances and all the rest of it and stuff. Best piece of financial advice, because also the last part about it is that you stop kind of living outside of your means and spending more than you really should. If you have two incomes and only use the budget of one, the rest you can use for savings, to have a little bit of fun, to really actually be able to afford things that are more optional and nice to haves that maybe otherwise wouldn't. Highly, highly recommend this piece of advice. It's worked out for me and my wife, like, long term now. We've been together nearly, 11 years at this point. It's done us really, really well. The best piece of financial advice that I received, I hope you take it with you. Thanks for watching.